Okay, so welcome to yet another Feature Friday. So this time around, we're going to jump right into talking about the Reliability Strategies application that has been added back in Manage 8 and has been enhanced in Manage 9, which was just released along with Application Suite 9 back here in June of 2024. So basically, as the slide in front of you shows, the Reliability Strategies is an application that has been added in underneath the Assets module. And after users have been granted access to that application by way of security groups, they are then able to access the Reliability Strategy library, which includes, as you can see here on the screen, many different equipment types, potential failure modes, and tasks and things that you can then take advantage of for your own PM activities and certainly job plans as well. So what I'm going to talk about today is what's in 9, which is being able to create a custom strategy, which can use the library for the different failure modes and things like that, or you can build your own. It's a bit of a long video, so I put bookmarks and such in there so that you can either jump to the pieces that you're interested in, or at least know where we're at and where we're going. So let's get started. So here we are in Manage 9, and like I said, the Reliability Strategies application is under the Assets module, and there it is. And assuming your user has access to it, they will be able to see it and then launch it. So there are 4 security groups that you need to be concerned with. I'll list them here on the screen. For just accessing the library, there's one called Reliability Strategies, and that's just to search the library and to be able to copy paste from. There's one called Strategy Builder, and that's going to be for those who are going to be building and managing the strategies. And then there's Strategy Implementer. Those are the ones who are going to be adding tasks to the strategy, but not actually editing the strategy itself. And then, of course, there is Strategy Viewer, and that is read-only across the whole thing. So here we are in the application itself. I'm not going to spend any time on the strategy library. We have other videos on that for you to look at. But we're just going to jump over here to Custom Strategies and start the process there. So a custom strategy is just that. You are developing an approach to increase the reliability of any particular either set of assets or even individual assets. The strategy itself is a method to organize and to manually keep track of how effective your approach towards the asset maintenance is in the end, which in the end it may not be. That is a very real possibility. So the strategy itself goes through a bit of a life cycle process. It starts out as a draft, which is what we're going to be doing here today, a fair amount. And then there's a review process. And it's very important that during the review process that all of the team members end up agreeing with what the strategy is, what the different failure modes are, the components that make up the asset, the tasks, the inspections, and things that need to be done. So the review process is very critical to the efficacy of a reliability strategy. And then, not finally, but the very next step is to then complete the strategy. And you can see over here on the right-hand side, I have a couple that have already been completed. That does not mean that you're done with them. That just means that you've drafted, reviewed, and in essence, they are approved for use. After the strategy has been marked as complete, then you go into the tracking phase, and that's towards the end of the video here. So the first part is going to be draft, review, and then complete, and then we'll spend a little time on what does it mean to track. I will point out that once a strategy is complete, it is not editable. So you need to get all your review and all your changes finished during the review process before you actually click complete. Okay, so now that I have frightened you sufficiently, let's go over here to the right-hand side and start creating the strategy. There's a couple of pieces to this. Certainly an overview, and if I roll down here, you'll see there's quite a bit of information to fill in to have a well-defined strategy. And then, of course, the next step will be failure modes once we have developed our overview and saved it. So that'll be a bit of a pause moment for us, is after we've completed the overview. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to take advantage of the fact that I do have a connection to the library, and I'm going to choose an air conditioner. I go ahead and select that from the list. I could certainly come over here to the right and create a new asset class if I wanted to. So there's the air conditioner. If the class out of the library has a subclass, which some just have one, others may have multiples, I can choose that, and I'm going to choose packaged. Okay. And then I start to enter some text here. And just in the interest of time, I've done some of this ahead of time. And so you enter in the asset configuration. Every single field here, if you click on its title, will give you an indication about what the configuration is. And again, that is rather up to you. Certainly the strategy needs to have a name, okay? And in this case here, I am going to focus on outside HVAC units. You know, this strategy could be for a particular piece of equipment, but honestly, it is probably for groups of people. Team members, at the moment, you just manually enter team members. I believe in future releases you'll be able to reach into person records or even labor records in the underlying Maxima or manage. So in this case, I'm just going to manually put my name in here. And of course, I would indicate other team members as well. Okay. End of the tedious part. And again, I would have a number of different team members here in the strategy as I wished. So now we get back into defining some details here. So what is the source, right? So the source of this strategy, the different pieces and such that I'm going to be using can come from things like manufacturer owner's manual, even your own field experience, even the EAM documentation, that sort of thing. So you want to indicate where you got this information from. So then the strategy itself, you know, what is driving the need for this? And again, I have some text here. So my particular business requirement is that I need good HVAC during operations in these buildings. And if I don't have that, then my clients are not pleased with me. So kind of a rationale as to why I'm even doing this strategy. Of course, I'm going to need data. That's my next piece down here. And I'm going to need to know failure modes. I'm also going to need to take advantage of historical data or records of failures and times when the equipment was perhaps operating less than what I expected. The next thing is to define the boundary. So what am I talking about when I talk about an air conditioning or an HVAC unit? So this is my opportunity to describe that the failure modes and the inspections, the actions that I'm going to take are on a very specific part of what may be a much larger system. But this is where I need to define that boundary. So everybody understands what is it we're building a strategy for. The asset function or functions, this could be a single function. In this case, it's to provide cooling and heating, which seem like very large functions, but you can define at that level if you'd like. Or if the asset provides a very specific, detailed, or even a function that has a range to it, you can certainly define that there as well. All right, the asset's functional failure. What does it mean when the asset fails at a functional level? Now, certainly assets can fail at many different ways. but this is the highest level failure, and you'll get into the actual failure modes and components later on when you're building the strategy. All right, the last couple pieces here is how you define the criticality, the duty cycle, and the service condition. This is basically the environment that the system or the asset or group of assets is actually running in. So I'm going to use some predefined ones here just in the interest of time, but you can certainly make your own definitions as to what is a critical asset, what is a minor or non-critical asset. And then when you get into the duty cycle, you can determine what is a high duty cycle. In my case, it is continuous operation. And down here for low, it is alternating periods. And then, of course, finally is the service condition. This is probably the most impactful of the environment, is how severe things are, or if it is in a mild area which does not have nearly as severe conditions as the other. Okay? And so that kind of wraps up the high-level definition of the strategy. You can see you have some choices here, and it is largely text entry that you're using to define your strategy. Your very next step, of course, is to create it. And you're going to leave it in draft mode. And please document your code. So this is going to be initial draft for AC units. Okay. And we click create. And now I have a draft strategy right here in the middle that we will then take the next step and start working with failure modes.